You know, there is always something special about a game when it's able to sink its claws into you and hold you in your seat for hours playing it and immersing yourself in its world. And that can happen for a lot of people in a number of different ways. Some people get reeled in by the story, or maybe the characters are a joy to play as you learn their motive for what they do within that story, or others can get so involved with the gameplay mechanics like trying to master the controls. Whatever the reason may be, it really shows how much love and care the developers put into their game when you the player just can't seem to stop playing. And that's how I feel about this game, Unicorn Overlord. The first 40 to 50 hours of gameplay alone has me so invested in the story despite it being pretty generic, or the idea of the name sound like a 10-year-old kid could have came up with it. So let's start with the story, as it all begins with a queen and her royal guardsman Joseph on the brink of defeat by the hands of the villain of the story, and the queen, Alenia, forces Joseph to flee with her son Elaine to a remote island off the coast of another continent called Polivia. From there, we pick back up with our hero years later after becoming an adult, training with his best friend Lex. Suddenly, the island is attacked by the evil empire who took over the entire world basically. So joined by his group of friends Lex, the voluptuous priestess Scarlet, the strict soldier girl Chloe, and the Jagan Joseph. They take the fight to the evil empire, learning that the ring his mother gave him is a keepsake that has the power to undo the evil magic, controlling many of the generals of his army. After making it back to the mainland, the journey to liberate all of the kingdoms began. It's again a pretty basic story, but I don't really mind it all that much so long as the characters and the gameplay are able to keep me engaged in the story. Speaking of the gameplay, let's dive right into that because there is a good amount here to talk about. Like with many strategy games where there are bound to be certain scenarios that will have you changing your characters around and equipping them with the best weapons and armor to better suit the situation. However, it is so much more complex than just changing around a few weapons. For example, one of the major mechanics of the game is the squad system, where a player is capable of putting multiple characters into a single squad where their abilities and skills will help complement each other, even make up for other weaknesses certain characters may have. The game starts out with only allowing for you to have about 2 people together in one squad, which you learn very quickly can be upgraded with the use of honors. Players can have up to 5 characters to a squad, and 10 squads can be deployed on the battlefield. Many people would compare this game to maybe like Fire Emblem, but I'd say it's more keen to the tactic ogre games. Regardless of what game it reminds you of though, there is no doubt that this game draws some inspiration from Fire Emblem in ways where certain characters have interactions with each other through reports and even through story bits. Despite the game having similarities, it doesn't waste time displaying its own identity though, with how there's a world map that you're capable of running around in. You can collect resources, rebuild towns you liberated from the enemy forces with said resources, shop for new weapons and items, and choose which missions you wish to challenge without being restricted to a chapter by chapter based style. And one thing that I enjoy about this style is that the developers still give you your main objective, and they did a fantastic job steering you toward that main objective regardless of what order of missions you decided to tackle first. During these missions, you deploy your squads at the base camp and everything basically plays out in real time. Enemies will make their way toward your base camp and you have to navigate your men through the map toward the enemy general to defeat them and capture their base. There are some maps that do have unique conditions to win or lose, but I find it that it always leads back to defeating the enemy general the majority of the time. Thankfully, there is a pause mechanic in the game that allows you to assess the situation and change up your strategy mid-battle. Oh yeah, and the battles themselves are a treat to watch. There really is something satisfying about watching your units use their skills exactly the way you set them up. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that part too, didn't I? Yes, there is a gambit system, or in this case a tactics mechanic, where you're able to set up how and when you want your characters to use their certain skills in battle. And that is without a doubt the best part of this game, is controlling the flow of battle through the use of the AP and the PP system. Your character's AP is based off their initiative or speed, which determines turn order in the battle, while PP can be used in numerous ways depending on the nature of the skill. Like some skills activate before characters are hit by an enemy, or some activate at the very end of the battle. and the slick animations of the characters' attacks and the skills are just a treat to watch. If it seems like you're having some trouble though with certain maps, you can always hire generic units from forts using honors that you receive from clearing missions, deliveries, and sometimes side quests in the overworld. Shops and towns help you equip your units with weapons that also have skills attached to them, which provides an incredible amount of customization for your units. Like, say maybe you like characters that can dodge tank for you, but thieves are just too frail to handle the one moment when the RNG gods forsakes you and you lose your only frontliner in your squad. Well, there's an item in the game that can be bought that gives you the skill Evade that thieves normally have that allows them to avoid an attack if the attack was forecast to land. So now you can slap that bad boy onto a character that has a little bit more bulk to them and boom! Now they're dodging attacks just like a thief would. Customizing unit skills with different abilities allows for more creative strategies in a squad than you otherwise would see from them if you were just using their inherent skills. Customization doesn't just end with skills from weapons and accessories though. There is another item you can buy or even get after completing a major chapter in the story that allows you to change up your unique characters' appearances and even their natures. And I find this to be a nice touch since your characters are pretty much locked into only having one real option for promotion, which is a bit unfortunate. I guess you could say I'm a bit spoiled from Fire Emblem giving you the option to make your favorite characters into whatever you want them to be. Like for instance, I wish there was another option for Elaine, since once you gain the ability to promote after your renown reaches B rank, he becomes a mounted unit, which I was hoping he could have stayed as an infantry unit. But all this talk about the character customization and stuff, well, what about the characters themselves? Are all the characters even worth investing your time and attention into becoming overpowered warlords? Well, I would say yes. Many of the unique characters that you meet in the story are more or less recruitable. Many of them have unique backstories and different walks of life, such as the thief guy that started stealing for the sake of his sick sister, and the player even has the choice to either execute these unfortunate souls or give them a chance for redemption by fighting with you or just straight up letting them go free. And these choices do have an impact on the story for later. Just like with Fire Emblem, there are some characters that start out as green units on the battlefield that can be spoken to in order to recruit them. There are even certain moments where you may need a specific character to recruit another unit. Like I said before, these characters all come from many walks of life, from nobles to bandits, elves, beastmen, and normal citizens who have taken up arms to defeat the evil empire. And because of that, you can get some pretty interesting interactions through reports. Some of the conversations are pretty lighthearted, while others take a more serious tone. And then you have the ones with Elaine, where the female characters can be thirsting hard over the main hero. Either way, there is something here for everyone to enjoy about these characters enough to make you get invested in them, the story, and even how everything will play out for them at the end of the journey. And what good is a journey about war and reclaiming your homeland without a good OST to listen to along the way? I do think coupled behind every good game is a great OST to go along with it. From the moment you boot up the game to the opening sequence of it, you know right away that the remainder of the game's OST is going to be a banger. Combine that with the stunning graphical backdrops and the unique art style of it, and you truly got yourself something special here. Unicorn Overlord, despite its title being made up by a grade schooler, undoubtedly is one of the best games to grace us RPG fans out there the privilege to play in 2024, and the year has only just started. From the intuitive gameplay mechanics that keeps players invested despite the narrative coming off to many to be kinda basic or generic, it's just the kind of itch that many RPG fans have been needing to scratch for quite some time now. With the diverse cast of characters that span across the different races and the interactions that they have between one another to impact your choices keeps you guessing as to what might the game throw at you next. The level of enjoyment I'm having playing through the game right now cannot be understated, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And if you are still on the fence after the game has been out for a few weeks now, I certainly hope this video has given you the incentive to at least dip your toe in and see how it is for yourself. Let me know what you guys like about the game and what you might want to see me cover about it in the foreseeable future. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed listening to me gush about this game, leave a like on the video and maybe even consider subscribing for more on Unicorn Overlord and other RPG related topics. Thanks again guys for your support, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.